I'll tell you. 3, 2, 1.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Zylo Taylor. Here today I'm going to tell you guys about Fossil Fighters. Fossil Fighters is one of the many DS games that are out there in the universe. This game it takes a lot of hints, it takes concentration, skill, strategy, and then just luck in some areas. But it also takes you also need to pay attention. Here's what the cover of the game box will look like. When you open it up, your game cartridge will look somewhat like this thing right here. The game itself is actually pretty awesome. You get to revive dinosaurs, battle other trainers, make friends, find people who are actually dinosaurs. You'll even find some pretty cool moves in there somewhere. Like some of them include fire. Then there's the 5 attributes of the game. There's the 5 attributes of the Vivosaurs. There's neutral, which has no weakness. Fire, which has a weakness to water and an advantage to earth. Earth, which has a weakness to fire and an advantage against wind. Wind, who has a disadvantage against earth and an advantage against water, and water, who has a disadvantage against wind, but an advantage against fire. So if you notice, if you use a neutral type, you'd never get an upper hand nor a lower hand. Not the best thing all the time. Sometimes when you play, it's best to have at least one neutral type in there somewhere that helps fit in with your team to still enable team skills, but at the same time to subtract the amount of chaos that can happen between elemental types. An elemental type is displayed in the top left corner of your. When you look in your database to look under your fossils, right next to their name is a small little emblem, very small. The color of the ring on the outside determines what type it is. White is neutral, red is fire, brown ish yellowish color is an earth type, green is a wind type, and blue is a water type. You'll also find that by using certain Vivosaurs in the attack and support zones, which I'll get to later on in the game, in the video, you can use a special team skill which requires all your players' powers. It can only be used if you have all 3 of your players. Like, for example, say I had a Shuna, a Seismo, and an Apata. I can use a team skill. Even though they're not related in type, they're related because they don't have the same diet, but they come from the same area. They're all long range, and then they all look the same. Then you can take one easy way to notice a team skill relationship without even picking and putting them in the attack zone and support zone. Try doing this. Look for numerical order. Like, for example, when you find a whole bunch of people in numerical order, try putting 3 people from that numerical order, from that numeric set, into the attacking and support zone to see if they actually have a team skill. It works a lot. Like Delta, U-Raptor, and Dilopho, and you can also get team skills by type. So if you had 3 fire types in there, and you've unlocked the ability to use team skills, which comes when you're level 4 or higher, depending on when you find the item, you can use your team skill. So you can either get it on type, by look, by diet, or by its second type. By second type, I mean as if it's long range, support, all those type of things. Let's get into support effects. A support effect is a very crucial item to the game. Of course, your Vivosaurs can handle up for themselves, but some Vivosaurs, meaning not all of them, some of them have support effects that when placed in the SD take effect to help or reduce your chances of winning. For example, a cutlass. A cutlass helps your chances of landing hits. It doesn't increase your accuracy, it decreases your opponent's evasion, which allows them to dodge. So if they're losing their evasion, they can't dodge your attacks. Let's take an Orno, for example, now. Orno gives you ultimate accuracy. In other words, it's going to be extremely hard for someone to dodge your attacks. For most people, I've noticed, sometimes they'll tend to keep everybody in a specific order. They don't like mixing it up all the time. They normally try one set of things and then they keep it that way until the end of the battle. It works sometimes it'll work like that. Because sometimes when you're fighting the dinosaurs that actually people who are dinosaurs, like for example, after level master when you fight Dino for the second time to get an idle comp component, which I won't get too much detail on that, but when you fight him, he tends to have his things in a specific order every time. He always has himself in the attack zone, as every Dino-Urian has, which is their name if the people whose dinosaurs' names are. Then he has his Compsognathus in the support zone along with a Penta. Those two stay there for just about the remainder of the game. He keeps his Compso there, and I can see the point in that, to weaken me completely. Like, I barely have any attack or defense. Really good, cheap, skeevy one. Now let's get into the positions on the battlefield. Each position on the battlefield, there are 4 positions per battlefield. There are 8 positions per battle. 4 for you, 4 for your opponent. You have your attack zone. Your attack zone is the main power center. In the attack zone, the Venusaur there can deal the most damage, but also takes the most damage from attacks that are landed on him. He can aim at any of the 3 zones if it's not a team skill. He can aim at any of the zones on his opponent's zone, side except for the escape zone. You'll find out why. It never has its power reduced by positioning. It only gets its power reduced by support effects that take